Week 3 has come and it is gone. And there was a lot of surprising outcomes. And we're going to talk about all of those today as I got power rankings. And I guess I should probably go over how we do power rankings because it's certainly, we do it in tiers. I feel like that's the easiest way to do it because you're going to get a good feel of where your team is trending. And I got 6 tiers here. We got bottom of the league, so that's just your teams that are bad. Long shots, teams that are bad, but they give you enough hope to maybe they could be in that playoff race. Above that, I have a could be but unlikely tier. Teams that are, I would say, middle of the road, but have a shot to be in the playoff race and in the playoffs in general. And then playoff contenders. People confuse this tier for teams that I think are playoff teams. That's not the case. These are teams that I think are going to be in the playoff chase that might end up making the playoffs, but it doesn't mean that I think they are playoff teams because I have a tier above that are playoff caliber teams that I'm like, you know what? Yeah, these teams are 98.9% to make the playoffs. And then of course your legit Super Bowl contenders. Let's go ahead, get into this sucker. Of course we got to start with the bottom, which means we're going to start with, I'm actually going to put the New England Patriots here at 32. And I think that's a fair spot to have them. Listen, it wasn't good. It was pretty ugly on Thursday night. Unless this team can effectively run the football, there's nothing going to be happening for the offense, which will put stress on the defense. Just sit Drake May until you feel confident enough in that offensive line. That's kind of the problem. Not a lot of confidence in the offensive line, but they are here at 32. To be fair, man, this week made it tough on where I should rank teams. So a lot of this is a little bit of future projection on my part. I got to put the Tennessee Titans in this tier. Will Levis continues. Each week he has that one Will Levis moment. You saw in week 1, it was the little flick to the outside that turned into a pick 6. Week 2, it was him scrambling, stumbling and bumbling, jumping over his left tackle and then tossing it to his running back, falling short. It ends up being called a strip sack. And this was in the red zone. This week, he essentially stared down D-Hop. And Jair Alexander was staring Will Levis right back in his eyes like, there ain't no way he's going this way. He was going that way. Like, dude, Jair Alexander is giving you inside shade. He wants to jump something. So you got this like 4, 5, 6, 7 yard hook route. Jair jumps it for a pick 6. It wasn't a pretty week. They also lost Chidobe Awuzie for a few weeks in this game. The run game couldn't get started, and they were playing from a negative game script basically to start the game, so they kind of abandoned the run in general. The offensive line, Nicholas Petit-Frere isn't playing well. Doesn't really play well in general, so yeah, the Titans are kind of in a tough spot. Above the Titans, I'm going to put the Denver Broncos. Kind of feels dirty after getting a big win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. To be fair, Buccaneers offensive line, well, at least right tackle, that's beat up. Ben Breedson at left guard isn't good. So, like, the Broncos were able to get a lot of pressure early on, but this was the best Bo Nix game of the season thus far. You'll love to see it, but still it's hard to believe in this team being anything other than a bottom of the league team as it stands right now. But hey, we shall see. Good win though. Good win against the Bucs at Raymond James. All right, I'm gonna put the New York Giants here. The defense looked much better this week. Freaking Shane Bowen, hello. Suddenly you like blitzing? Okay, I see you, bro. But the defense played really well. You thought early in this game because they fumbled the kickoff, Browns went down, scored. After that, you thought maybe this was going to be a bad game for the Giants. They were able to they were able to bounce back and win this game. A lot of this was Danny Dimes dumping it off to Wandale and Malik Neighbors, I think, combined. They had 9 forced missed tackles, so it was essentially just get the ball in the hands of your playmakers and let them make plays. Not to say Danny Dimes didn't have any good throws in this game, but this was a game script for Danny Dimes that I've seen much in the past, just saying. But yeah, good win for the Giants. Really, really, really was. But I don't know, man. Maybe they end up being a serious team this year. Maybe I'm just wrong about them. Maybe I'm just wrong. Right above the Giants, I'm going to have the Las Vegas Raiders. Why does it feel like things are just coming off at the seams for the Raiders? Like, you got a quarterback battle now happening. To be fair, like, I think Gardner Minshew's play kind of warranted, like, maybe you do want to see what Aiden O'Connell can do for you. And to be fair, when he came in, it wasn't radically different from what we saw with Gardner Minshew. The run game doesn't exist. Hey, DJ Glaze came in, had a good day. That's encouraging. Can't wait for Jackson Powers Johnson to play. Can't wait for him to make his debut. Defensively, though, Max Crosby, only man getting pressure. Kind of rough. Jack Jones, he kind of had a down day at the office. You lost Marcus Epps for the year. That sucks. And now after the game, Antonio Pierce. Yeah, some guys went into business for themselves in this game. And we're going to remove those guys. Like, okay. What the hell does that mean? Why does it suddenly feel like this team's in free fall? It's kind of scary. Everybody loves the NFL draft, and I know you want to be familiar with every potential prospect that your team may draft. So I got good news for you. My draft guide is available for purchase. It is good throughout the entire draft cycle, and it updates through the season regularly. You'll get my current evals and rankings on hundreds of different players with player backgrounds and analytics. It also contains combine and pro day numbers, as well as my notes from the Senior and Shrine Bowl. You can purchase it for a one-time payment of $30 on PayPal, Venmo, and now I have the Cash App. Follow the link in the description and be sure to include your email because it is a Google spreadsheet. That is how I share it with you. So please don't make me hunt down your email. Just don't do it. Anywho, it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel. I do have one more team here, and it is going to be the Carolina Panthers. Listen, great win. Dominant win over the Raiders. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, is back. This next week, it's going to be the Red Rifle revenge game against the Cincinnati Bengals. And a must win for the Bengals, if I'm going to be honest. But everything offensively operated so much smoothly. So much more smooth, I should say. Even the defense played well. But you got to imagine that, not saying this was an outlier, but that this was, okay, this is the best that this team probably can look. I think it's fair to expect some regression as they take on better opponents. Not to say that this offense won't look good, but I don't expect it to look like this every week. But good win by the Panthers. All right, we're going to move up to this long shot tier. Again, teams that I think just have teams that I just don't think have a great shot of making the playoffs, which we got to talk about the Jags. Because this is a team with talent. This is a team that can beat good teams. At least in theory. But that was an ugly loss. You lose 47-10 to the Bills. You were never in the game. Trevor Lawrence didn't look good. Brian Thomas had a couple of bad drops. Cam Robinson was bad on the offensive line. The defense was not great. Be fair, like, this was no Tyson Campbell. Met that the secondary was vulnerable, and vulnerable they were. So, like, right now, man, Jaguars are trending in a direction where it's like, I think they might fire Doug Peterson. I think that might actually happen now. Above them, I'm going to have the Chicago Bears. So, the Bears, great defense, though the run defense this week was a bit susceptible. To be fair, when you're facing Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, I think that might be to be expected. However, Caleb Williams, man, he just can't rest easy. Like, he starts the game off as relatively well, but then as the run game continues to not exist because, well, the run blocking isn't good, this game slowly devolves into chaos where Caleb has to turn to his USC days and tries to create something from nothing. So now you've become a one-dimensional offense that can't effectively run block and even pass block in some degrees. So it's like, until the offense has some sort of show some sort of consistency, or just that they can just function within like the game script and within structure. Like, again, there's just too much chaos happening offensively for the squad for me to really buy into them. But they got a really good defense. They really do. Right above the Bears, I'm going to have the Los Angeles Chargers. A lot of this has to do with, okay, you're going to be missing Joe Alt for a few weeks with the MCL sprain. What's Justin Herbert going to be like? He's basically working with a bum foot. He had the plantar ischias, blah, 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 on his foot this offseason. Then you had the high ankle sprain last week, re-aggravated the high ankle sprain. Like, I don't know if we're going to see Justin Herbert ever 100% this season. And that worries me. So I think I have a right to be worried, to be concerned. Right above the Los Angeles Chargers, coming in at 23 in my power rankings, is my Miami Dolphins. Fins up, baby. Fins up. Likewise, Tua. I don't know if when he comes back this year. But Skylar Thompson can't be it. To be fair, not a lot was his fault. Well, okay, it's not like his play was good, but neither was the play of the offensive line. And also, Seattle Seahawks defense, scary. It's terrifying. Even Derek Hall was getting pressures against us. But I think if this team's going to have a shot to float this boat, then it's Tyler Huntley. Tyler Huntley's a guy that he helped lead the Ravens to the playoffs in 2022 when Lamar Jackson went down. He's a veteran. At least he's more veteran than what we currently got on the roster. And am I saying he could come in and be the savior? No. But he might be able to come in and stabilize this offense. Hopefully. But again, we're trending in the wrong direction, unfortunately. And then the final team in this tier is the Cleveland Browns. Probably a lot higher than they should be, admittedly. I just really believe in this defense. Even if they're banged up, I still believe in this defense. It's a very good defense. The question is, what the hell with the offense? You're playing with two backup tackles. I get it. Now Wyatt Teller goes down. That sucks. Deshaun Watson, at some point, you got to think. He'll at least play okay. Because it's been really bad. He's missing throws. He's holding on to the ball for way too long. Like, it's not good. It's not good. I really thought about putting him down here. Or putting him down here. But that defense is so good. Honestly, in my opinion, it's the best defense among these teams here. But that means a whole lot of Jack Diddley squat if they can't do nothing on offense. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just holding on to what little hope of them turning around. And I'm telling you, it's little hope. Let's move on to this could be but unlikely. Teams that I think can vie for the playoffs, that can get into that playoff chase, but I don't particularly feel good about it. We're going to start with the Rams. Listen, the Rams are hurt. They're beat up. They got a great win against the Niners this week. They got a great win. They hit big plays, whether it was the punt return from Xavier Smith or the 53-yarder from Tutu Atwell. Great. Kyron Williams was like, hey, if I can't get it done in the running game because, well, offensive line, they're in the IU. then hey, pass it to me. I think he had did he have 2 receiving touchdowns? Maybe he just had 1 receiving touchdown in this game. I know he had 3 total touchdowns in this game, but good win for the Rams. I still don't believe particularly in their cornerback room right now, though Trey White had an okay game. But that front 4 for the Rams is terrifying. Braden Fisk went off this game. Kobe Turner was great because he just is. He's probably quickly emerging as a top 10 interior player in the league. Verse, Byron Young, they all had good games here. At 20, I'm going to have the Washington Commanders. And listen, I just can't buy into the defense right now. I mean, you should. No team, I think, punted in the Monday night game. So, yeah, listen, you're going to have to win some shootouts. And with a rookie quarterback, you're not always going to win those. That's just a fact of the matter. I'm sorry. It is what it is. That's just a fact of the matter. But Jaden Daniels looked hella good last night. He was hitting. He's looked the best of any of the other rookie quarterbacks. And I do think they could win some of these shootouts. And listen, it's not always going to be on Jaden either. Brian Robinson's a really good running back. And last night, okay, they wasn't able to get the run game going, which was fine because the passing game was unstoppable. Good win by the Commanders. Above the Commanders, I'm going to have the Colts, but golly, man, this team feels like it could be sliding. Very similar to what I said with the Bears. This team's the offense, any pass and play for the Colts just feels like that it just goes into chaos and you're playing backyard football. Anthony Richardson, he's not making necessarily the best decisions. He had the red zone interception against the Bears. He's not consistently accurate. And really, it was Jonathan Taylor that bailed this team out in that offensive line. Defensively, honestly, put up a better performance than I expected because they got some key parts hurt on that defense, but they played well. I don't know. We'll see going forward, man. We'll see going forward. But after that, just highest of highs in a loss in the season opener against the Texans, Richardson just hasn't been able to meet that expectation. To be fair, that was a pretty tough expectation to meet when you're going for over 200 yards on all of 9 completions. And then I got one more team in this tier, and it's going to be the Arizona Cardinals. So that puts them at 18 on my power rankings. Defensively, this team's feisty, but I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're good enough to win games. They got beat up in the trenches yesterday against Sunday against the Lions. But offensively, this team can win shootouts. But when your defense is playing as feisty as they were, you need to be able to put up points. They were unable to do that in the second half. So, they are a team capable of winning shootouts. But that does require you, to be in the shootout. And this team, the run game was kind of nothing yesterday. Kyler Murray he had an okay game, but they really couldn't get it going in the second half, unfortunately. All right, let's move on to these guys called playoff contenders. Teams that are going to be in the playoff chase doesn't necessarily mean they're a playoff team. And we're going to start with the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, this is a mediocre team. The run game sucks. The run defense sucks. Dak, some people will be like, man, Dak, 3 turnover-worthy plays. He's not good. Ha, ha, ha. No, he's playing from behind in a negative game script where they can't rely on the run game. So, yeah, he had to make some dicey passes, but he got him back in the game. Did they deserve to be back in the game? No, but he got him back into the game. I think this team is better than what we've seen the last couple of weeks. And eventually, you would expect them to put it together. So, we shall see. The Atlanta Falcons, man, they've played every game pretty darn close this year. and unfortunately have come on the wrong side of that this past Sunday night. As, hey, 4th down call. Was it a good call? Was it a good play call? That's up to you. But the offensive line got whooped. It did. Granted, you had a backup right tackle in there. You had a backup center in there. So it wasn't exactly ideal. But even Chris Lindstrom had his struggles in that game. And to be fair, Chris Jones does that to people. But I will say Kirk Cousins has looked better. He has. He's looked closer to what we expected him to be. So, like, not sold on them as playoff teams, but they're going to be in the playoff race. I really do believe that. And then here, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. And does this sound crazy? They're 0-3. And I got them here at 15 on my power rankings. The offense looked great last night. The defense, not so much. This team, finally, when they were able to stop the run, because now they have Chris Jenkins back, they couldn't rush the passer. They put their corners on islands for 5-7 seconds, and that's just an impossible task to ask. So they got blown up in this game. This defense isn't good. They need to figure some things out. Coach Lou, you're going to be on. Coach Lou might be on his way out if this defense continues to play this way. But you don't sleep on the Bengals. You just don't. And I said this about the Bills last year. You might think they're down and out. But fun fact, they ain't down and out. They could get hot at the end of the season. We've seen it from the Bengals. When they needed to win games, they won games and made the playoffs. I'm not going to sleep on the Bengals. Now, if they lose to Andy Dalton and company, that doubt's going to surface. It's just going to surface. And they're going to drop significantly. Just going to put that out there. Right above them, I have the Seattle Seahawks. They're playing really good football. I love how the passing game has looked for this offense. Defensively, they're an exceptionally scary team. But I do want to see them play against a good team. The Dolphins, unfortunately, they're just not a good team right now. The Patriots, they're just not a good team. Like, these aren't impressive wins. The Broncos, they're not a great team. Let's be honest, Seahawks haven't really faced great competition as of just yet. And again, this isn't an indictment on the Seahawks right now. It's not, because I do think they're a really good team. It's just I need something to really prove it, and they haven't had that competition yet, unfortunately. So I have them here at 14. At 13, I'm going to put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're coming off a real down game. Things just didn't work in their favor. Right tackle Justin Skull, who's filling in for Luke Odecki, wasn't good. Starting left guard, Ben Breedson, never good. So, yeah, Baker had to create by himself, essentially, or had to create something from nothing because you're getting pressured so frequently. And that's just not going to be a winning formula. It wasn't in this game. They also had a lot of significant players hurt on defense. We're talking Antoine Winfield. You had Vita Vea. Kalijah Cansey, I still think, is out. So, like, they were missing some guys. So, I'm not going to reel back too much on the Bucs. I think they're still a very good team. And then last team I'm going to put in this tier is the Minnesota Vikings. And say it. Just say it. I'm asleep. I'm sleeping on the Vikings. I have trust issues when it comes to the quarterback position as a Dolphins fan. I don't know if I can trust Sam Darnold. Is he going to play like this the whole season? Because if that's the case, they're a playoff caliber team because this defense is freaking nuts. It's freaking nuts. So I have bumped the Vikings up. They're 12th currently in my power rankings, and I admittedly might be asleep on them. I'm willing to admit that. They keep winning games, I'm going to bump them up. Surely. So, Vikings fans, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm asleep on your team. But before we go to our playoff caliber teams, gotta give a shout out to today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. If you sign up using promo code BROSHMO, they match that first deposit up to $250. They got promos all throughout the week. That's right. They're going to give you free picks in your player prop bets. They even, I think it's Friday, they got day for the underdogs. Hell yeah, we're talking college football. And you know I love them underdogs. So get in on the action at Underdog Fantasy. It's the best place to play weekly best ball. If you love that, then get in on the action at Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code BROSHMO when you sign up, and they will match that first deposit up to $250. But as always, bet responsibly, bet within your means. Playoff caliber teams, and I got the Jets. Jets. Dude, Aaron Rodgers is looking good. The defense looked better after, kind of being on the struggle bus the last couple of weeks. But to be fair, the Patriots and that offensive line, they'll do that to you. That's a good confidence boost. But Aaron Rodgers in the offense looks really good. Got to include him in this caliber, playoff caliber team tier. They're going to be, I think, competing with the Bills for the AFC East title. Sorry, Dolphins. Right above them, I'm going to have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Fields has looked better and better each week, but man, I'm waiting for them to come up against that really good playoff caliber team and just be on the struggle bus. I'm waiting for it. The defense is playing great. We already knew Pittsburgh, they play great defense. Mason McCormick, he stepped in, looked good this week. Hell yeah, love that. But I think it's fair for me to be a little hesitant when it comes to the offense, and if they need to step up in a big way, can they do that? But Fields has looked good. He's kept the ball out of harm's way. That's not to say he's not missing potentially big plays, big gains, because he is, man. He is. He's not seeing it as a passer consistently. So let's see how he develops through the season. Right above them, I'm going to have the 1 and 2 Baltimore Ravens. I know people will be like, oh, this is a joke. They're 1 and 2. It's like, we're in week 3. You think the Ravens are a bad team? Get out of here. They might not necessarily be the team that wins the AFC North, but they're a good team. They looked really good this week. I didn't like that they took their foot off the pedal against the Cowboys and almost let the Cowboys back in the game. Don't like that, but the run game got going in a big way this week. And that defense is pretty solid. It's solid. It's not as good as years past, but I feel like they're going to get things going sooner rather than later. There have been some encouraging parts when it comes to that defense. Like Trenton Simpson looks freaking phenomenal. He looks really good. So I got the Ravens here. And then ahead of the Ravens, I got the New Orleans Saints. This puts them 8th in my power rankings. And to be fair, they should have lost by more points. Offensively, wasn't a good game. Finally, the offense hit a brick wall. To be fair, part of that could be Eric McCoy having to leave the game with injury after like 3 snaps. And the run game just wasn't good. They weren't able to hit some of those deep shots. Rashid Shaheed, 0 catches on 5 targets. It was kind of rough, but this defense was really good. Kept him in the game. They came up with a big turnover in the red zone. They came up with a big turnover on downs late in the game. Even the special teams came in, got a blocked punt. And to be fair, when the Saints offense needed to step up, they did. They got that go-ahead score, and unfortunately, well, the Eagles were able to not march down the field because they just hit Saquon Barkley just hit like a 60-yard run, but you get what I'm saying here. But I think the Saints are a good team, man. I just do. I can't help it. And then one last team I have in this tier, it's going to be the Green Bay Packers. And man, they're playing really good with Malik Willis at the helm. The game plan's been great for them. And you got to imagine when Jordan Love returns that this is going to be a Super Bowl caliber team. You got to imagine that. The defense has been good. The blocking's been really good. And to be fair, Josh Jacobs, he's just kind of been so up and down, but they've been able to get other guys involved, whether that's like who is it, Emmanuel Wilson, Malik Willis is doing it with his feet. But to be fair, they beat struggling teams like the Titans and the Colts. I don't know if that's an indictment on how good they are. We shall see. But Jordan Love, man, as Malik Willis continues to win games, dude, let Jordan Love get 100%. Just be like, hey, Jordan, you just sit here. You just sit here. We can get by right now. We can get by. All right, let's talk about these Super Bowl caliber teams. That's right. I got 6 of them down here. We got 3 AFC, 3 NFC, and I'm going to start with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're hurt. They're banged up. No A.J. Brown this game, and then they lose Devontae Smith in this game. They lose Lane Johnson in this game. They lose Mekhi Becton really early in this game. But the defense played really good football. Jalen Carter was a nightmare to stop. And the Eagles found other ways to get it done on offense, whether that was, well, Dallas Goedert having like 170-some yards. But you also had Saquon is just a freaking monster. Him behind a really good run blocking team. Chef's kiss. Freaking wonderful. Ahead of them, I'm going to have the Houston Texans. Yeah, they're coming off a down week, but a lot of that is Brian Flores' defenses apparently just own Kyle Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan apprentices. So maybe it's more of a scheme thing. I think better days lay ahead. I thought, honestly, CJ Stroud played a good game. He played as good as you can given the circumstances. I should put it that way. I know a lot of people look at the interceptions, and listen, I'm a guy that I've gone in the comment section and gotten into it with people because they think CJ Stroud is without faults. But I'm like, no, like his turnover-worthy throw rate last year was on par with like a Kirk Cousins. Like, let's reel back. Just because he didn't have a high interception total didn't mean he didn't put the ball in harm's way. And now here I am defending him when he had a high interception total. Be like, well, you had a batted pass, got deflected. It's just kind of bad luck. Listen, I just call it how it is. Or at least I'm just going to give you my opinion. What I call it how it is, how I see it, how I view it. There's no agendas here. If there was, then the Dolphins would be much higher, but some people think I have the Dolphins too high. It is what it is. Regardless, Texans, tough game, better games lay ahead. They should have a good bounce back game against the Jags coming up. But we'll see. We'll see. Division teams typically play each other fairly close, but the Jags have been really bad recently. I'm going to have the 49ers next on this list. I get it. They're 1-2. They're coming off back-to-back losses. One against Minnesota, which, hey, that's kind of the kryptonite for the 49ers. And then the Rams come storming back in a good win here. Listen, the Niners are good. They were without Debo. They were without CMC. They were without George Kittle this game. That's not including some of the injuries they have on defense, too. So, like, listen, this is a good 49ers team that's going through a slump. We saw them go through, like, a 3-game losing streak last year. It just happened after they won 5 games. Like, this is a good team. They're gonna get it going once again. I have no doubt about it. Again, when you do power rankings, it's not necessarily based on record. Just putting that out there. For goodness sake, I have the 0-3 Bengals here at 15. I'm going to put I guess I'm going to put the Buffalo. I feel like this is too low. I feel like I should have the Buffalo Bills at 2, but good game. Good game. It doesn't matter if they don't have an alpha at wide receiver. They could really throw the ball to a variety of different guys. They completed passes to 10 different pass catchers against the Jags. It was a great game. James Cook, he is an integral part of this offense, and Gregory Arusso is becoming an all-star right before our eyes. The Bills are good. I don't know why I ever doubted them. Next, I'm going to put the Detroit Lions, but I'm kind of hesitant. I could go either way here. But I'm going to put the Detroit Lions. This offense, it's good when it's functioning well. It moves well. They basically take over the time of possession, and they dictate the game flow. You'll love that. Defensively, they're still figuring out, putting it together. Massive blow with Marcus Davenport going down with injury. They also had a couple of other guys like Sam Laporta, Derek Barnes. I gotta go and look. I don't know what the extent of those injuries are. Hopefully it's nothing too crazy. You had Anzalone miss this past game with a concussion, but this Lions team's really good. It just is. Also, fun hook and ladder play. Love to see it. And then, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs. They're undefeated. They win close games. The regular season doesn't matter to the Kansas City Chiefs. They live for the postseason. It doesn't matter if the offense is not hitting on all cylinders. They'll be better later in the year. At least they'll be better in the playoffs. Spagnuolo, he is him. He is that guy. This defense is great. They are number one. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who am I too high on? Who am I too low on? Go ahead. These videos are set up for you to criticize and react. So go ahead and react in the comment section below. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.